How's it going, everybody? Welcome to this new video. Benvenuti in questo nuovo video bilingue. Perché, come sapete, adoro fare le cose in modo bilingue. As you guys may know, I love doing things in a bilingual way. Today, we're going to talk about some of my main tips for learning Italian. Oggi parleremo di alcuni miei consigli principali per imparare la lingua italiana. And in all honesty, you could use these tips not only for Italian, but ci soffermeremmo soltanto su questa lingua. But we're just going to dwell, we're just going to think about, we're just going to focus on Italian. All right? So even for those studying English, for example. Per tutti coloro che studiano l'inglese. For all those that study Italian. Per tutti coloro. You don't have to say per tutti coloro. If you want to say per tutti quelli che studiano l'italiano o l'inglese, andate pure. Go on ahead. Andate pure. You want to tell someone go ahead to one person? Vai pure. Vai pure. To a group, 2 or more people, andate pure. Go on ahead. So, first I want to talk about stacking. The stacking or compounding of information. When you are learning a language, not only are you creating a foundation upon which you're then going to build, right? But you're stacking. You're taking one thing and then you're adding another and you're adding another. E perché? Come mai? Why is that? Because a language is not something where you study un argomento, you study one topic, un argomento, e poi non lo vedi più. And then you never see it again. It doesn't work that way. Non funziona così. Il modo in cui funziona, the way in which it works, il modo in cui funziona, is that you study something and then you build on that existing knowledge. So that's why I like the word to compound or to stack. With this in mind, your approach to l'apprendimento delle lingue or lo studio delle lingue, so your approach to the learning or study of a language, I think will change. Cambierà, secondo me. In my opinion, it's going to change. Because you're not looking at something as something to complete. So it's not linear, instead it's vertical. Okay? Non è orizzontale, ma verticale. Linear, do I say it's not horizontal learning, it's vertical learning? Yeah, I think I could say that in English. In my English-speaking mind, I tend to say linear and vertical, but it's probably more appropriate to say it's not horizontal, it's vertical. Probably. I know in Italian I wouldn't use the word lineare in this sense. I would say Now I have a dubbio because I'm going too much between the two language. Orizzontale. Mamma mia. Whatever word I said before that I pronounced correctly, that should be the one, okay? Whatever the word for orizzonte è orizzontale. Orizzontale. Oh, mamma mia. That's what happens. Okay, that's the point. So think about it that way. Vertical, not horizontal. So we don't just say, okay, I finished present tense. Goodbye, move on to passato prossimo. Did that. Goodbye, move on. Doesn't work that way. Everything comes back because you're just compounding. That's one piece of advice, un consiglio. So we don't say piece of advice in Italian, we say an advice. So è un consiglio che vi consiglio tanto. That's a piece of advice that I really tell you guys to take heart, if you will, or heed that piece of advice. I think that's going to help a lot. After that, dopo questo consiglio, vi presento quest'altro consiglio. I'll present to you guys now. I'll share with you this next piece of advice. My famous, and the reason why I say it's famous is because I say it all the time, my famous 2 to 3 person rule. I have a whole video on it. I'll have it linked down below in the description. What is the 2 to 3 person rule? La regola di 2 a 3 persone. La regola dice che non basta imparare qualcosa soltanto da una fonte. It's not enough to just learn something from one source, from one resource. And why do I say that? Because if you find something that's really good, right? Let's compliment Weilà Tom for a second. You love the Weilà Tom channel, all right? Permettetevi di dire questo, ok? So allow me to say this, or lasciate che ve lo dica. Se mi permetto. Probably better just to say that. Se mi posso permettere. There we go. Or se posso permettermi. All of the above work. So if you would allow me a moment to use me as the example, let's say you love the Weilà Tom YouTube channel, and that's your main resource for learning Italian, for learning English. I still would tell you it's not enough. Vi dirò comunque. I would still tell you, I would tell you anyway. Vi direi comunque. Non basta. It's not enough. Because there is no one resource that can do everything. One resource that you really like, that you're really drawn to, that explains things in a way that speaks to you, may be your most useful, but it's really important to get a well-rounded approach. And in order to have a well-rounded approach, or in order to have a well-rounded understanding, you need to talk to more than just one person. Per esempio, se tu vai in Italia e sei americano come me, e un italiano ti incontra e poi ti conosce, vuol dire che tu rappresenti tutto il popolo americano, che ogni altro americano sarà come te. No, lungi da me dire che quello sarebbe possibile. Far be it from me to say that that could be possible. Lungi da me dire. Far be it from me to say. If you go to Italy as an American and an Italian meets you and gets to know you, ti incontra e ti conosce, or ti conosce. When we say conoscere in this caso, in questo caso, in this situation, in this case, in this context, it's like saying they get to know you. So incontrare is just to make the acquaintance, just to meet, to encounter. Incontrare is to encounter. Conoscere is to make the acquaintance of, to get to know. So se un italiano ti conosce, if an Italian gets to know you, is it right to say that you are emblematic of every other American in the American population? Far be it from me to say that that's possible. I wouldn't say that about myself. I don't represent every single American. It's impossible to be the full embodiment of an entire national identity and cultural identity. È impossibile. It's impossible. So, in a similar way, I would say that when you're learning a language, get that well-rounded understanding, right? In order to get that, you have to talk to more than just one person, learn from more than just one resource. That even happens, or even manifests itself further, when you're talking to an Italian, right? Noi abbiamo un po' questa percezione che un madrelingua è l'ultima autorità. We tend to have this sort of preconceived notion, this assumption, that a native speaker is the ultimate authority. Not really. Me as a native English speaker, even though I have spent many years teaching English, my specialty in teaching English is to teach it to Italians. The moment now you bring me a different speaker, like a speaker of a different language as a native language, like their first language is not Italian, I may have a little bit of difficulty relating to them because everything I do in teaching English is to teach it from the Italian perspective. So is it really useful to come to me as a non-Italian and be like, teach me English da zero, from the ground up? I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe I could help, but maybe you need to talk to someone who's got much more experience doing teaching English just to foreigners in general. So one native speaker can't be the authority for the whole language. It could depend on the way I speak, right? Maybe it's a regional thing. So don't just take what one person tells you, even if they correct you, perché questo è possibile. È naturale nella cultura italiana correggere qualcuno. It's very natural in the Italian culture to correct someone. Never fret when someone corrects you. It's a normal part of what they do. In the English-speaking culture, the Anglo culture, we don't do it quite like they do. Obviously, we could do it, but we have different sensitivities towards that. And that's not to imply anything in particular. Sensitivity and just meaning as long as we understand someone, usually we're like, it's cool. But for an Italian, the notion, generally speaking, is, let me help you to speak correctly. I see where the mistake is and I will assist you. So it's a different sensitivity. That's the way I'm defining it in this context. So an Italian will correct you. Don't fret over it when that happens. And the point is, even when they're correcting you, don't just rely on what that one person tells you. I think it's a healthy thing to go to another person and say, sai che una volta qualcuno mi ha corretto quando ho detto la parola così o quando ho usato questa frase. Secondo te va bene o no? I think that's a healthy thing to do. You ask someone, hey, one time I was corrected when I said a word this way, I said it like this. What do you think? And now that person may tell you, ma certo, sì, quella persona aveva ragione, figurati. Yes, that person was right. Absolutely. Or they'll tell you, ma che t'ha detto, non sa quello che sta dicendo, quello là. They may say to you, oh, well, who does that person think they are? They don't know what they're saying. Don't listen to them. So, 2 to 3 person rule, 100%. The next piece of advice, l'altro consiglio. This next one deals with moving on, but also giving something time. È importante progredire, è importante andare avanti, ma anche talmente importante andare con calma e lasciare che le informazioni abbiano tempo to settle in, per avere e trovare un senso nel tuo cervello. It's important to make progress, è importante progredire o andare avanti. It's important to move on. Don't dwell on a topic forever. Non ti soffermare sempre e soltanto su un argomento solo. Don't just only focus on one topic. Object pronouns, the number one topic students come to me with when they have a private lesson. If it's their first time or everyone sort of meets their match at object pronouns, and object pronouns is like the deciding factor if you're going to keep going with this language, like how badly do you want to learn it? That's not to say object pronouns are difficult. They're quite simple. But it's you reach this point in your language learning journey with Italian where you start to become a language learner. It's no longer that small idea, whimsical, if you will. I want to speak Italian. I want to move to Italy. I want to go there on vacation. Sure, those are great ideas. Let's lean into it. But just how strong is that desire to when we finally get really into language learning? And we reach that point where it's like, okay, it's sort of a make or break moment. Am I going to really say, I care about this language? To really open up that side of me that can be analytical, that can ask myself these questions, to even say, hey, do I know parts of speech in my native language? Do I know what a subject, a verb, an object, a direct object, an indirect object, do I know what those are? When I'm then translating that into passato prossimo or any other compound verb form, and I have to do gender number agreement, pay attention to masculine, feminine, singular, plural, intransitive versus transitive verbs. You know, we're using all these fancy words, right? In practice, they don't really refer to anything super special or difficult. All of it can be done. Humans invented the language, humans can learn it. That's the way I look at it. But the point is, it's sort of a make or break moment for a lot of students because that's when you're faced with the decision that you may not even be realizing. How much do I want to dedicate to this language? Am I willing to lean into that side of me to take it there, to do what it takes to really, really become a language learner? And for many people, the answer is yes. For some people, if it's more on a whim, maybe they'll be like, you know what, I'm happy just ordering a cafe at the bar. Hey, that's fine. I always say language learning is a spectrum. everyone's going to fall on a different place in that spectrum. È uno spettro. È uno spettro. It's a spectrum. So when everyone comes to me with object pronouns, that is the point in time when I say, don't dwell on it too much. You have to move on. Bisogna andare avanti. If you're not getting it, that's okay, because languages stack. So even just a little bit of input, it's okay. You can build on that. It's gonna come back. Non sparirà. It's not gonna disappear. Non sparirà. Ritornerà assolutamente. It's coming back. And perhaps the farther along you get in the language, you learn something much more challenging that when you go back, because language is very much a cyclical process when you're learning it. You always have to go back and review, e fare un bel ripasso, do a nice review. When you go back, you're like, oh, why did I think that was so hard? This is so intuitive. Okay, ce la posso fare. I can do it. Ce la posso fare, ce la faccio. And that's really a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling, and I can guarantee you, you're going to experience, if not that very same emotion, something similar to it. It'll happen. It'll happen. That which was difficult eventually becomes easy, or at least straightforward. So, you have to move on. Don't stay stuck, even if you're not getting it. Bisogna andare avanti. However, you also have to give things time, so it can sound quite paradossale. It can sound quite paradoxical, like a paradox. Paradossale. Però quando ci pensi veramente, ha senso poi. When really you give it some thought, you think about it, you're like, actually, that makes sense. The mind needs to process things. An easy way I can share it with you, besides just talking about learning new information, imparare una lingua, learning a language, any emotion you have, when you're really surprised, something is shocking. Whether it is a positive or negative thing, something is shocking, right? The more time passes, the more you can process. That shock may diminish. You may still find something incredible or absurd or amazing. You may still reputare, lo reputi ancora così. You still consider it that. Reputare, I always don't know why I can't quite find the translation. It's one of those words where I'm like, it just sounds better in Italian. Lo reputo così. It's like I consider it this way, but it's like, it's not really consider. Because it's like reputation in a way. You know what I mean? It's when you look at something, you're like, lo reputo così. I consider it. I value it. I deem it. Maybe deem. I kind of deem it to be that way. Lo reputo così. Se lo reputi comunque incredibile, incredulo, scioccante, cioè qualsiasi cosa vuoi, qualsiasi cosa voglia, whatever you may want it to be, or call it, incredible, shocking, amazing, it does diminish a little bit. And the next time you see it, if you see this crazy, shocking thing again, you're like, yeah, I've seen it already. You kind of have a little bit more of that, yeah, been there, done that. Maybe this is new for you, but for me, I've been down that road already. I still find it weird, or I still find it amazingly cool. Yeah, I've been there. That's what I'm talking about. That's the settling in. So with a language, it has to settle in. You're taking in all of this new information, right? So sometimes moving on is actually putting something to rest for a little bit. Being like, you know what? I'm going to go do something totally different. I'm going to go take my mind off of this. I'm not even going to think of Italian for a day, 2 days, a week. I'm just going to step away. Let it settle in, and then you can come back at it with a fresh pair of eyes, I believe we say, right? You come at something bello fresco e rinfrescato. Rinfrescato is refreshed. What a beautiful word, right? With a beautiful meaning. Rinfrescato. It's refreshed. Rinfrescante is refreshing, okay? And rinfrescare is to refresh. There we go, as a verb. So it's about moving on, not dwelling on something for too long, because it will come back. And also, paradoxally, see, that's the problem. Back and forth, I then can't speak English anymore. Paradoxically, maybe, I feel ridiculous. Mi sento ridicolo, però ci sta. It's all good. Ci sta. On the other hand, dall'altro lato, you need to also sometimes have some space. Time and space. You need that time and space. So these are some of my biggest pieces of advice. All right? The first thing we spoke about was stacking and compounding. Don't view a language as I do one thing, move on to the next, and forget what I did before. Assolutamente no. No. Vertical, stacking and compounding. One thing builds and takes you to the next, and then those together support what comes after. Then the 2 to 3 person rule. Get a well-rounded approach. Don't just learn from one resource, from one person. Take like a supplemental approach. You know what I mean? It's kind of like have a good diet, but sometimes your diet may lack in certain things, so you can take a supplement. Okay? Not a nutritionist, but I'm just saying, all right? I'm just saying. And finally, the third consiglio, il terzo consiglio, the third piece of advice. Move on. Always move on. Sempre vai avanti. Sempre avanti. But also give something a rest. You have to let it kind of set in. You know? That's what I would say. All right, guys. Va bene così? Va bene per me? Va bene per voi? Io direi di sì. I would say so. Guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you liked it. Spero che vi sia piaciuto. Spero che vi sia piaciuto. Hope you guys liked it. That is the congiuntivo passato. If you want to learn more about it, I'll have it linked down below in the description. I don't know if I did congiuntivo in the piacere video. That could be another topic. Maybe we'll do that in a small bites because I'm in a filming mood right now. Maybe we'll do that. I'm liking it. Okay. All right. Maybe this is another piece of advice. Let's do it. Let's do it at the very end, right? Allow where your shortcomings are to be your guide for what to study next. So on top of doing a structured thing like my Zero to Hero Italian Grammar series, right? Go from lesson 1 to lesson 30. I'll take you on that whole journey by hand. Do this, then do that, then do that. Cool. I'll have that link down below as well. But see what you know how to say really well. That's the whole small bite theory. When you're taking a small bite out of something, whatever you know really well, that's good. You don't have to spend too much time with it. What you can't explain, that is what you have to go study. So in a similar way, when I came here and I'm like, spero che vi sia piaciuto. That'd be a good thing to explain because I don't know if I covered it yet. When you see that gap, right? Like a gap in the market in this case, I want to fill it. And here's how I can go do it. By leaning into it and teaching it. See, in my context, how that works? Do that with your studies. And just look at that. We added in a fourth piece of advice. Che bella cosa, ragazzi. Che bello. All right, guys, so that is going to be it from me today. I enjoyed this video. Hope you did as well. Mi è piaciuto questo video. Spero che sia stato anche il caso per voi, o spero sia anche così per voi. Spero uguale per voi. Spero lo stesso per voi. Spero che lo sia anche per voi. You know, something in that ballpark, all right? It's all good. Sometimes English to Italian's a little tough. Ma ci sta, but it's all good. Always remember to spread the love, and I'll catch you guys next time. Va bene? Alla prossima, ragazzi. Ciao!